I'm finding that there are two main types of people out there. People who like to make lists and the people who like to just kind of go with the flow and be inspired to do whatever comes to mind in the moment that they're in that moment. And I'm wondering what type of person you are. Do you like to make lists? I have found that I love making lists, and I make lists of everything. I even find that there are times when I've got a list of what to do for the day, and I think of something else and I go do it and it wasn't on the list, so I write it on and cross it off. I don't know what psychology says about that. It's kind of messed up, but there's something very fulfilling about having that focus and knowing exactly what needs to be accomplished. Yet, as I have been reflecting on 2017, Happy New Year, everybody, and spending time thinking about my last year, I go through a process of reflecting. And sometimes I just meditate and journal and think about it, and sometimes I journal. This year I actually wrote down answers to a lot of questions about what I learned in 2017, what my accomplishments were, what my greatest joys and successes were, what my biggest failures were, what I would do differently with the wisdom I have today if I had the chance to do it over again. And one of the things that came up in my reflections is that I, for the first time in my life, am wondering and second guessing whether making all these lists is as helpful as I have made up all these years in my mind as it is. And of course, there is value in being able to have clarity in lists and what you're going to do. But as I was reflecting, I realized that it actually has a downside, and that I am constantly feeling like I'm never done. Like there's never time that I can just truly unplug and relax. And it's because I have this looming list. And sometimes when I can't find my list, I start a new list and I have a post-it and I've got lists all over the place. And so I'm resolving in 2018 to stop making to-do lists, to giving myself the freedom to not have to track every single thing that runs through my brain that could be something that I should do. And instead, I started a Google Doc that's possibilities. And it's a place, because one of the things I find is valuable about writing things down is I get them out of my head. And so I can kind of let it go. So I've got a list of possibilities where I'm just trying out, experimenting with placing things as they pop in my mind. Oh, I should really make a Shutterfly calendar of all the pictures from 2017 and send to my grandma. It's a great idea. And right now where I'm at with my life in this moment, I don't have the space for that. So I just put it on my possibilities list where I can get it on my mind and have a placeholder so I don't lose it. And I also don't have to keep on spiraling and thinking about, oh, should I do that? Is that good? Is that bad? And instead, I started to think about for 2018 what I want to stop doing. And one of the things I want to stop doing is being so psychotic about producing, about focusing on the doing, the results. And I want to allow a little bit more space for the being. And this has been an intention in the past. In 2015, creating white space was indeed my intention. In the years leading up to that, as I was building and growing my business, I got to the point where I was insanely busy, and I had created a really successful business, and I had also created a life that had no stillness, no white space, no downtime. Stillness is one of the 6 practices of being thoughtfully fit that the research and case studies have found is a theme. It's a hurdle that gets in the way of people, clients, myself, really creating a life they love. And so I have every year an intention for the year. It's one thing that is really important that I'm focusing on. And in 2018, my number one thing is writing. This is a little bit, I have to say, a little scary to say out loud publicly, but is writing a book on Thoughtfully Fit. I have spent decades studying leadership, communication, team building, effectiveness, conflict. And I've spent the last couple of years looking at how to package that in a way that makes sense based on the obstacles that I see from working with hundreds of clients, life coaching clients, executive clients, leadership clients. And there are 6 obstacles and themes that get in the way of truly creating a life you love. And those are the 6 practices of Thoughtfully Fit, which I talk about every week in our Thoughtfully Fit Thursdays live videos. I am going to be creating more space for stillness, because one of the things I've realized in writing a book is there's a lot of energy it takes in the creative process, in thinking about what's the fall line. Some of you may have read my newsletter last week where I talked about creating a fall line for your life. So in December, I went to a phenomenal, it's called Keynote Camp in Denver, and it was some of the very best keynote speakers in the industry who have been speaking for decades, who put on this intense 3-day training to help those of us who are newer in the field to be able to learn how to give a keynote. I can give a fabulous training and a workshop, and I love it. A keynote is a whole different beast. And this keynote camp was incredible. And one of the things that they talked about is that in a keynote, you need to have a fall line. You need to know what's the promise. If people pay attention and listen to your whole keynote, what is going to be their takeaway? What's the promise that how is their life going to be better? And that in crafting your speech, you need to be certain that every piece of research, every story, every case study is tight to that fall line. And they talked about, this was Eric Chester and Mark Scherenbrock, so big shout out to both of them and to Sue Scherenbrock for giving a phenomenal training. They talked about how in downhill skiing for racers, the way that slalom skiers win a race is they're at the top of the hill and they need to get to the bottom, and they need to make the tightest fall line that they can. So if you're going way to the side around the moguls, and you're going to lose time, you're going to lose the race. And so even if you have a really good story that gets great laughs every time, a good joke that kills it every time, if it's not tight to your fall line, if it doesn't relate to the main promise of your speech, you gotta let it go. And so I started to think about, what's the fall line for my year? Like, what would it look like if I had a fall line for this year? And in the past, I've thought of that as an intention. And so for this year, my fall line, my intention is writing this book. And what that is meaning is that I need to stop doing a number of things in order to create space for that. And that's kind of scary, because I'm in my life and I have a lot of habits and I have a lot of things that I do that are comfortable. As a matter of fact, a lot of things that I do probably got me to where I am today, have brought me joy and success. But those things that bring you to where you are today aren't necessarily the things that are going to bring you to where you want to go tomorrow. And so one of the things that I'm going to stop doing in 2013, or I'm going to try already today, I've got an example where I didn't do so well, but I'm going to stop being my own worst critic. That's one of the things I find when I'm working with coaching clients, is we can be our own worst judge. And that voice, that gremlin, that saboteur can be so loud that we can be our own worst enemy. Today, perfect example, you would maybe not believe that a mere, let's see here, 23 minutes ago, I had finished my workout. I was on my bike trainer and sweaty, and I was thinking, gosh, I need to go back and make sure I look at my notes for my Thoughtfully Fit Thursday so I know what my fall line is for my message today. And so I hopped online and I noticed the image that my social media team created for the promotion for today's video said, "Stop doing this, join me today at noon." Oh my gosh, it was 13 minutes to 12. I was sweaty and in my bike shorts. And immediately where my mind went, being my own worst critic, is, God, you should have known better. Why didn't you set an alarm? I thought it was at 12:30. That's what, in my mind, my Facebook Live was at 12:30. And I just started to spiral. And then I stopped myself. I thought, you know what? Knock it off, Loma. There's nothing you can do at this moment to undo the fact that you screwed up. So chop, chop, giddy up. Let's go. Hop in the shower, put on some lipstick, put on some mascara, and trust yourself and show up. And I was a couple minutes late. I hate being late. I had to let go of that. Nobody is sitting there. I mean, thank you for those of you who are joining me right now, but I know better that nobody is sitting there at noon wondering, where is Darcy? Why isn't she on the call? And so while I can still be my own worst critic, that cycle, that feedback loop is actually getting shorter with that intention that I'm going to stop being my own worst critic. And so I was in the shower kind of laughing, going, well, this is great. Isn't this just the universe winking at me, giving me a direct message to share with you today? Instead of what I would have done in the past would be to spiral. Little Miss Perfect Pants would have gotten really evoked. I would have emailed my social media team and said, you got to reschedule this. You need to postpone it and apologize. And I would have made a big deal. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to show up. I can do this. I'm going to speak from the heart. So that's the first thing I'm going to give up. Second thing on my stop doing list is that I'm going to try to stop doing is saying yes at all costs. And this is something that I have been working on for years. Not for a lifetime, because I used to pride myself in saying yes. I used to think that that was the good thing to do, that was the right thing to do. If somebody asked me to do something, there was an expectation, and I had to do it simply because they asked. And I'm realizing now that that is not serving me, that is not creating a life that I love. And I'm finding ways to be able to say no, that have courage to deliver that message in a compassionate way. But I'm also finding that it's really hard and that people don't like when you say no. I'll give you an example. As I'm a single mom right now, a full-time single mom, and my life changed last year in a big, big, big way, that I just had to create more space in my days. And every request to go have coffee or to have lunch or to connect or network, I could no longer say yes to. And literally, I'm blessed with abundance of a wonderful network and people who are reaching out, and I love connecting with people. I love having coffee and going to lunch or go for a glass of wine. But I was finding that my days and my weeks were so full of me running across town and going from coffee to meeting to lunch, and it was not allowing me the downtime and the space and the buffer I needed to be able to be a mom and get groceries and do strategic planning for my business and all of those things that I needed to do. So I sat down with my team and we decided that we wanted to create some kind of a structure or process to be able to support my goal of having less chaos, less running around, and while also honoring the people that are reaching out that I want to connect with and I want to learn from and network with. And so what we decided is that each day we would pick a day that would be my networking day. It'd be my coffee day. And we'd have one location and I would plop down and we'd schedule people who reached out for coffee. And it's been working out incredible. It's fun. I look forward to it. It's efficient. I'm not running all the way across town. It means I don't have to get showered and put makeup on every single day, which I realize for some of you, might seem bizarre as a goal, but my preference is to not be done up and have makeup on. It's just to be in yoga pants and sweats and natural. And so, but what it also means is that it's a tough message to deliver. So when someone will reach out, Deb now will look at my calendar to see when's my next open coffee date. And what it means is that sometimes when a person reaches out and says, hey, I saw Darcy at an event and I really want to connect with her and go have coffee, that she will say, excellent. How about, somebody, so I'll tell a story. Somebody had reached out, I think it was, I don't know, maybe in August, and, or maybe it was in July. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it was in July, and said, I just moved to Madison and I'd love to get together. And so I replied saying, yes, I would love that. My calendar's a little bit crazy. So I'm going to have Deb work with you to find a date that works for both of us. And so Deb had reached out and offered a date in, I can't remember if it was September or October. And so the day came and I was there, and it was the last appointment of my day, the last coffee of my day. And I waited 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then sent an email saying, hey, I was looking forward to connect. I'm guessing maybe something came up. So if you'd like to reschedule, that would be great. And so after about 25 minutes, I left. Well, the person wrote back and said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I had the wrong time. Can we reschedule? And I said, absolutely. Of course, I'd love to reschedule. I'm going to copy Deb so she can find a time for us that's convenient that we can get together. And that time was this week, Wednesday. And she sent out an email confirming on Tuesday all the people that were on my calendar saying, hey, just confirming that you're set to meet with Darcy. And this person didn't reply confirming. And that morning replied and said, I have to cancel. I have a conflict. I can't make it. And to be honest, I actually want to spend my time with people who want to make me a priority and who want to be with me. And clearly Darcy doesn't want to. And so Deb was here for our weekly meeting on Monday, and she had shared that with me, and it just felt so awful. It was not the intention that I had at all to make somebody feel like I don't want to connect with them or see them. So I shot a quick email and just said, hey, I was really looking forward to meeting you today, and I'm so sorry that your calendar didn't work out. Oh, and the other thing he said is, I will not be rescheduling. I do not want to spend time with somebody who doesn't want to be with me. And I felt really awful. And so I sent an email to him, heartfelt, just saying, that I was really looking forward to meeting you today. Welcome to Madison. I hope you're settling in. And I am truly disappointed you can't make it, but I understand that something came up on your end. That's no problem. I wish you the best. Let me know if you want to get together or what I can, do for you in the future. And so he replied back a very nice email and said, I'd love to get together. I actually got a new job and I had a conflict. I'm sorry I canceled last minute. Would you be able to get together next week? So remember, when I'm talking about the second thing on my stop doing list is saying yes at all costs. Now this is a tough one because I want to connect with this person who is now expressed, not to me directly, but that he's really disappointed and not happy with me, and he's saying he wants to meet next week. And so this is the value of for me, of reflecting and writing down and being intentional, because I knew I can't say yes at all costs. And so I just wrote back saying, oh, no problem. I understand commitments or conflicts come up. Congratulations on your new job. Absolutely, I'd love to reschedule. Next week is not available, but I'm going to send you to Deb and she can find a time for us to get together. And I look forward to it. And I don't know what his response will be. And what I'm realizing is that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to come from a place of compassion and heart and to be courageous and honest with myself as much as with somebody else. So that's the second thing that I am working on. I am definitely a work in progress. But that feeling, that negativity, that guilty feeling, that icky feeling of, oh God, I'm disappointing him. Again, the feedback loop is shorter. So in the past, I would have spiraled on that forever. And now I felt bad. I felt really bad. And but then I drafted my reply and I thought, it's okay. It's going to be okay. And he'll make a choice. He'll reschedule or he won't. And that's okay. I'm coming from a place of deep heart that I want to connect with him. And I'm also honoring that I can't keep saying yes at all costs, even when it's hard and when it disappoints others. Okay, I have 2 more. Third thing I'm going to stop doing or work on stop doing is trying to change others. And in the Thoughtfully Fit model, this is all about flexibility. It's all about being able to stretch for full and unconditional acceptance of another person. And that's hard. Can you relate? Is there somebody in your life that you wish would be different? I'm guessing that this gentleman wishes that I would be different. He probably wishes and that he could change the fact that I'm not able to just get together in a week for coffee when he reaches out. And so letting go of the urge, the need to fix someone, to change someone, to try to should on someone else is a commitment. And it's a commitment for me with him too, to really just send him compassion. I understand how frustrating. You reach out, you're new, and you want to connect with someone, and then they say, I'll meet with you in 2 months. That doesn't feel good. So I get it. He's frustrated with me, and I can't change that, and that's okay. And when we do get together, I'll let him know that that was not my intention. But I'm going to let go of that urge to try to change others. And then the last one on my stop doing list for right now is stop believing the stories that I tell myself. We all tell ourselves stories. We make up things. You reach out to somebody and they don't reply. And you start to make up a story. Oh, maybe they're mad at me. Maybe I should have paid for lunch last time we were together. You start to tell stories. And it can be really toxic. And so just looking at something happens, this is our humanity, this is our human nature, something happens, and then we make up a story about it. And I put a circle because this is how I always think of it in my mind, like what happened and then what's the story I'm making up. And trying to let go of that worst case scenario and allowing that inner gremlin voice, that chatter that's negative, that's saying you're not good enough, you need to be better, you should have done something different, to just recognize like, oh, I hear you, but you know what? We don't know why they haven't responded. So I'm not going to put any energy and time into worrying about that right now. All we know right now, the facts are, is that I sent a message and I haven't heard back. And then I can act from that place. So it's the core, building your thoughtfully fit core, pausing and then thinking and then acting. And in all of these examples that I've given today, that's exactly what I've had to do. Oh my gosh, my Facebook Live is in 13 minutes. And I started getting all tense and riling up and going in the shower, and I had to pause and think, there's nothing you can do. You can just get ready. You can trust that the message you have, you're prepared. And then act from a place of calm. As a matter of fact, after I got done getting ready, rather than hurry and hit record right at noon, I sat down for 2 minutes and I just got really grounded and centered and tried to, release that negative energy that I was feeling, that I had let myself and other people down, that I was now late. So pausing and thinking, and the thinking, if you remember, is about asking yourself thoughtful questions and then acting. So that can be helpful too when something happens and then you're going to make up a story about it. You can pause and think, ask yourself, what's the truth? What do I know? What are the facts? Could the opposite be true? And then you can act from that place. I'm just going to wait another day and see if they respond, or I'm going to give them a call and check in. And you can be more intentional and more thoughtful. I thank you for joining me today, whether you're joining live or whether you are watching the recording. I just feel compelled and so blessed that the things that I have studied and learned are valuable and hopefully meaningful to some of you. That the failures and the mistakes that I've made, that I can try to package them in a way and bring them to you each week so we can learn and grow together. So I would love to hear from you. If there's something that's on your stop doing list for 2018, post it in the comments. Shoot me an email. Give me a call. Let me know. What are you going to stop doing? And we did reach out last month to Facebook saying, hey, what are things you want to stop doing in 2018? And in the blog that I posted this week, I now have a weekly Thoughtfully Fit tips that I send out each week by email. And if you want to sign up, you can go to my website, darcylomba.com. You can sign up. It's free. It's short. It comes every week. This week is about the stop doing list, and I shared some of the things that those people on Facebook shared with me that they're going to stop doing, and some of them are really fun and comical. So thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday for our Thoughtfully Fit Thursdays. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.